Anybody who's been around me for a while will know that I work experientially. Why do I do that? There are a lot of people who do. So I thought I would just share one of the reasons why I do that. And I'm going to just ask, have you ever heard of people who've had near death experiences? So those are people who, if you haven't, people who experience dying. This is how they describe it in general. They experience dying and they have some experience of being dead. And then they come back. That's why it's called near death. And because they come back. And maybe they've learned something, or they've learned something about what they need to be learning, or something. So I haven't, I would describe my experience as I have experienced and experience being alive without a body. So I'm in this life, still alive, and I don't have a body. I am pure existence, or what some people might call pure consciousness. I actually refer to it as the un, because there's nothing. That's my way of describing it. There is nothing. There is, sometimes I'll say eternal time, sometimes I'll say eternal space. There is nothing. And it is the nothing that is everything. So the nothing from which everything is created. It is the un. Now, one of the main differences between the un, or the un-me, and having a body is physical experience, which seems like a no-brainer, right? So there's this experience of being nothing, which is an experience because I also am alive in this physical world. I'm going to give you some examples just to help illustrate what that is. I'll describe it as best I can. So again, for those of you who have been around me in my world for a while, you know that I like to go to cafes. I sit in cafes and I have a cappuccino or a tea or something to drink, and I work. I love, I love doing that. And the funny thing is, I don't even like the taste of coffee, but I order it anyway. It's just the whole experience. It's the experience of the architecture and the design and the layout of the place. And I like to breathe in the smells and hear the sounds of the clinking and the people and the movements of the people and what they're wearing and they're talking. And I feel the heat of the cappuccino or the tea or whatever, and the taste of it and the smell of it. And even very often the barista will make some sort of art. For those of you who drink that kind of coffee, like cappuccino or latte or whatever, there will be like some art in the milk on the coffee. And I love to sort of, what have they made this time? I just love the whole thing. And so the experience is the me, having the experience of all of that. And it is fantastic. It is ecstatic. It is joy. It is excitement. It is, I would not be having this experience if I didn't have this. Without this, there would be none of that, which is, it's just, I find that so cool. So it's like the body that is created, that is a creation, and everything else in the situation is experienced because of the physical. And without it, there is no experience of it. Another example is, just recently I ate something, and it might have been past its due date because I didn't feel very well after a while. And I noticed my stomach there was some discomfort in my stomach. and it started to get painful. And actually, at one point, I wondered how painful it was going to be. And the so the experience from the is the sensations of the, ooh, look what my body is doing. It's look what this feels like. Ooh, pain. Okay. Ooh, that's interesting. And then the sensations of like movement, of digestion, or attempting to digest, all of that was like, wow, this body is doing that. And again, that joy and that excitement and that curiosity about, well, now what's gonna happen now? Look what's happening now, and getting very curious about this whole thing and this whole ecstatic experience of what this body is creating. And it was like, the pain didn't matter. It was the whole experience of having the pain. It was so exciting. And that is the beauty of the whole thing. It wouldn't be happening. The would not be having this experience if there were no body. And the only way we know we have experienced something is by the experience, the physical, actual experience of it, which again can sound really obvious. And yet, when we pick it apart, like, why not just mindset? Why not just vision boards? Why not a lot of these other things that have to do with maybe, or why not just dreams? Well, there's no actual real life lived experience. So when I've seen something, I've had the experience of seeing. When I've smelled something, I've had the experience of smelling. When I've done something, I've had the experience of doing it. When I dream something, I have the experience of dreaming it, but I don't actually have the experience of living it. So I can, for example, let's say you want $1 million. Maybe you want to win $1 million, or maybe you're hoping to win $1 million. So you can say or imagine, I've won $1 million, to give yourself sort of the thought of it. I've won $1 million. You can think that thought as many times as you want. But until you actually have some sort of lived experience of $1 million in your bank account or touching the money, it's not an experience, a lived experience. It stays in the world of thought, the world of imagination, the world of dream. So why do I work with experience? That's why. With experience, there is a knowing. This has actually happened in the physical world. The has had a physical experience, a lived experience of it. And I'll say more about this as far as the goes, and the not having the body, and what that's and why that is important in the sharing of the information. I'll come back to other situations, other examples, other experiences. But I'll stop here, having illustrated the importance in my work with clients of the experiential component. And if you'd like to experience what that's like, just to use that word, if you'd like to experience what that's like, what it's like to work with me, you are more than welcome to send me a message with the word reveal. and I will get in touch with you so that you can hopefully have an experience, a real life experience, and not just an experience of a dream.